the question then becomes, okay, so what do the indigents, the locals, what they get from this agreement? You know, a perfect template would be where the community gets equity in the businesses, you know, in the modular refineries, and in return they then secure the refineries, so they provide the protection for the refineries. And if the community is the one providing the protection of the refineries, I mean, you can be rest assured that there won't be attacks on the installations.
Now, if this Modular refinery will involve all of these investment that you've talked about and the amount that you have just mentioned, and yet a lot of people believe, or some people believe, that this is really not the final solution to the problem in the downstream sector, as the case of importation and, of course, curbing the militancy there.
Would it be the final solution? I think it is a solution. It's a fantastic solution. You know, if we're able to refine 400,000 barrels per day, we'll be able to meet our consumption requirements, which would then ease up the petroleum importation problems that we're having, which would even free up dollars for other critical sectors of the economy. So there's a trickle down. This is a trickle down movement, you know, on trickle down impact on implementation of or building of the modular refineries. But the problems in the Niger Delta, you know, it goes beyond just, you know, building modular refineries. There has to be more developments in that region. You know, government has to do more in talks with the oil companies, particularly with cleaning up of the oil spills in the region, and developments of the region as a whole.
Okay. Now, already there's a report that a U.S. modular refinery investor has set aside about $200 million for the takeoff of the first refinery. What's your take on this?
That's fantastic. You know, we need as much investments as we can. You know, so if there's a U.S. company that's willing to invest $200 million in investment, from our calculation, that should work out to just over 20,000 barrels per day in production. You know, if that goes well, that would sort of be the encouragement to even drag in more investors to come and invest in that sector, you know, and try to build up more modular refineries. So it is a positive update.
Okay. Now, with this modular refinery coming into place, how much of oil can be churned out from this this means?
Yeah, we've okay, just to touch on it again. If we have, you know, if we get the investments in, as I mentioned a while ago, for us to be able to produce 10,000 barrels per day, we need about $87 million in investments. You know. So if we're able to get in a lot of investments in, then we'll be able to build up the modular refineries to generate enough production to cover for the deficits, the refining deficits by the NNPC at 30% capacity utilization of the refineries. We need about $2.6 billion in investments.
Yeah, for each of the modular refinery, how much can they produce a day?
It depends on the size. It depends on the size of the refinery. It depends on the investment that goes into the refineries. We're guessing that, you know, different refineries would have different investments churning into them. You've mentioned that there's one that we're looking at $200 million of investments, so that would be enough to gain just over 20,000 barrels per day. You know, so again, the percentage of production would be determined by how much investment goes into the building of that modular refinery.
Okay, in all of this, what would you say would also be the role of the private sector in Nigeria?
The private sector, is the most important. You know, the government cannot be the ones to build up the modular refineries. The government just has to provide, you know, enough incentives to attract the private investors in. So it would be a partnership of the private sector and the local community, you know, to build up the modular refineries, as we mentioned at some points during the program.
Okay, so looking at the whole thing the government is doing, and of course this initiative, what is your outlook for the downstream sector?
Well, the present administration is doing a lot, you know, to boost up the capacity of this sector. They've already started meeting with, as you mentioned, they've already started meeting with representatives of the local communities on how to go about the development of the modular refineries. You know, if all things being equal, if we're able to get the modular refineries on stream, it will help our refining numbers, of course.
All right, thank you very much for your time. Ibrahim Babalola is an investment analyst with Afri Invest. We'll take a quick break, and when we return, we'll look at the insurance sector. Please stay with us.